All right, man. So took a trade today, and this is how it turned out. So this is not the full trade outcome. We took this trade based off of a 15 and 30 candle and adding narrative towards it. Because when we're actually looking at this trade position, we did have an open 4 hour candle that didn't really look too fantastic to continue the buys up at this stage. And the hour at the time frame didn't align because you had no bottom wick. So I wanted to mitigate that. I wanted to find a way to try and get into a position without having such high probability that price action is going to retest this hour low. So what we did when the 30 candle opened up is we're starting to look for some wick entries. Now, when you're looking at a bottom wick entry on the 30, you're also going to be looking at a bottom wick on the 15 if we can get that. Now, that candle closure at 3:15 p.m. didn't really look very confident. That's why this is now your new resistance area. This is your risk off area. You printed a bullish doji, which technically indicates price action is ready to start driving back down to retest 49.97, which in my case is positive because we want price to be going down to that level to retest. That's now when you use the model of going down to the lower timeframes to break out what is actually happening on price. So I took it based off of this 345. I think we took it at 346. When price action came down for the bottom wick, we looked at the 1 minute, we looked at what's being printed. Are we respecting support? If we're getting that confirmation, we're going to get into the markets, which we did. We got the reversals, we got what we wanted, and I entered on the 46 candle here on the push up. So we did endure a little tiny weeny bit of drawdown before price action pushes up. But aside from that, really, it was okay. We did come out with a break-even trade, so it's not, spectacular. It's not super fantastic. And I didn't follow the full plan, which is again something I'll go into. My checklist. The current range was done. The liquidity area was done. There was no particular mirror on price action. There wasn't really any kind of area towards the left of my screen that I can say, yeah, price is replicating it. The only closest thing I can see is this. So in terms of the mirror, not super confident with it. The narrative, like I said, the 4 hour, the 1 hour had no retest. So we're trying to build as much narrative as possible on that. Aside from this, we saw struggles. We saw struggles on the 1 minute time frame, and that was based here. Price action was trying, came down, and then eventually when you broke out is when I decided to call it quits. So not the most confident. I really should have held the trade position. Initial risk off area when you were looking at the actual open was the flip of this current 15 open candle. And when you get that flip of the 15, you'd be going to move to break even. And that is exactly what I tried to do. But then on the lower time frame, because I saw you struggling, I just exited out as soon as possible, which I think was here. Not the ideal thing because my goal is to not have any manual intervention. It's always to have either a full TP, to have break-even outcome, or to have a full stop loss hit. It is not to manually intervene in the trade. Now, it doesn't change the fact of the result today, but the result is that I did manually intervene, and that is not what I'm trying to promote because I've said this before to myself, it alters with the consistency. If you're all of a sudden cutting your winners early or moving risk-free too early, and then logically price action doesn't actually have enough space to run, it actually needs to come back down to retest the lows before coming back up. That again, I have to make sure that I follow the rules just to maintain the consistency and maintain the discipline. But aside from that, it's a break-even outcome today. In this trade position, not like it's relevant, we peaked 113 pips. And this risk to reward, even though we didn't have full confirmation across all the timeframes, was a 1.78. That's a 168 pip win for TP and a 94 pip risk. And as you can see, you would have filled the hour candle, which actually makes sense in that case. But unfortunately, you didn't push towards my full copy on price action at 5015. And that really is a wrap. So we're coming back tomorrow. Hopefully, we can get more ideas on the charts. If not, we'll do a back testing session too.